If you love the Pacific Northwest like I do, you're going to love Klamath County, Oregon. Located on the southeastern side of Oregon, it is kind of a forgotten about county. And while the topography and the landscape is a little bit different than you might think of some of the lush forests on the western side of Oregon, you still find beautiful treed groves, beautiful rolling meadows. It's just a really stunning environment in my opinion. And it's littered with beautiful national protected areas. You've got Crater Lake National Park, Deschutes National Forest, Bear Valley National Wildlife Refuge. Truly, the list goes on. It's probably one of the most scenically stunning areas on this entire list. And while property prices have appreciated in the last decade, it's not uncommon to be able to find an acre anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000. And a lot of times these are going to be properties that have trees on them. They have a little more of a, what I would call a hospitable environment compared to some of the properties that you might find in Arizona or New Mexico. If it were my money, this is a place that I would look really strongly in terms of building an off-grid or tiny home setup. And again, at these price points, it's hard to go wrong when you're getting into a property for less than $5,000, especially when you got the prospect of appreciation. As we know, a lot of the Pacific Northwest is a really strong real estate market, and that trend looks to continue. And we're back to Arizona. This is Cochise County, Arizona, which is located at the southeastern corner of Arizona. Bigger county in terms of population. You're looking at about 131,000 folks that live out there, according to the 2010 census. Now, what's interesting is this county is relatively large. I mean, the county is about the size of Rhode Island and Connecticut combined, which means there's a ton of land to choose from. We've got about 6,200 square miles of land out there, most of which is entirely vacant. And so we see prices anywhere between $1,000, maybe about $1,800 to $2,000 in terms of buying an acre in Cochise County. Now, this is definitely, you want to be mindful of the climate out here. If you like the dry heat, well, this is a fantastic place to look at. If you want something that's a little more mild, a little more temperate, you probably want to look elsewhere because it does get pretty scorching this far south. It's definitely for someone that likes living in the desert, as you can imagine. With that being said, there is a diversity within the flora and the fauna. You've got the Coronado National Forest, Coronado National Memorial, Fort Bowie National Historic Site. You've got the caverns out there as a state park. There's a ton to love about the area. Again, you just want to be mindful of some of the temperature. If you love cheap land, well, you're going to love Elko, Nevada. It's got some of the cheapest land I've ever seen in anywhere in the US. It's not uncommon to find an acre for $500 to $1,500. It's actually one of the larger counties in all of America, right behind San Bernardino County, but in terms of land mass, it's actually the fourth largest county in the United States. As of 2010, there's about 48,000 folks that live out here. Most of the county is very, very rural, but you can get most of the general supplies in the town of Elko, which is decently sized. You should have no problem getting all of your bare necessities from Elko and living off-grid out here in Elko County, Nevada. One thing you'll notice about this list is most of the land that we're referencing, most of the counties, they're on the southwestern portion of the US. Unfortunately, it can be difficult to find more affordable properties on the east side of this country, although Putnam County, Florida is not a bad place to look. It's a smaller county. You've got about 728 square miles. That is just true land. The rest, about 100 square miles, is all water and swamps. Putnam County is the northeastern part of the state of Florida. You're conveniently located. You're close to Jacksonville, St. Mary's, close to Georgia, obviously, Daytona Beach. Very, very strong market like you'll see in the rest of Florida. Land prices have really appreciated in the last few years. An acre out here is going to run you anywhere between $2,500 to $5,000 depending on the availability of utilities. One thing that you're really going to want to be mindful of when shopping for land anywhere in Florida are flood zones. A lot of these cheaper properties, you're going to want to look at the FEMA flood maps to ensure that you're not buying something that may or may not be in a swamp. Welcome to Alamosa County, Colorado, on the southwestern portion of Colorado. Looking at a beautiful county. It's actually a Spanish word for grove of cottonwood trees. It's loosely what Alamosa translates to. Small town. It's a very small county with about 15,000 folks that inhabit it. It's a beautiful area. It's adjacent to Costilla County. You've got the Sangre de Cristo Mountains as kind of a backdrop for most of the properties there. Typically, you'll see property prices anywhere from $1,500 all the way up to about $3,500 for an acre. Water table is really strong out here, so drilling a well is really no problem. Whereas when you're looking at properties out in New Mexico and Arizona and parts of California, this may not be the case and you're going to need to have water delivered. If it were my money, Alamosa County would be a place that I would heavily consider. Also, the southwestern part of Colorado has been a pretty hot land market for the last few years. I would expect prices to continue to appreciate in the area. Well, we're in my home state of California. This is Kern County, California, and if you want a good deal in California, there's really no better county to look than Kern County. Most of the county is dedicated towards petroleum extraction, agriculture. There's a pretty strong aviation and space and even military presence in the area. It's a very, very fast-growing area in terms of population. There are definitely some drawbacks, though. You've got water supply issues, poor air quality. You're sitting in the valley out there, so you get a lot of the smog from LA. And the area is prone to earthquakes. Like a lot of California, it's something to be mindful of. Kern County in particular has been hit by a many devastating earthquakes, and so it's something to take into account. Land prices are incredibly cheap out here, though. It's not uncommon to find, a quarter-acre lot for well under $1,000. You can find an acre lot anywhere between $2,000 to $2,500 is pretty typical. Of course, you get the benefits of living in California, and there are many. You're still not very far from the coast. If you head west, you'll be at the Pacific Ocean before you know it. So it's not a bad place it's really not a bad place, and it does have a lot of benefits. Now, one of the things to be mindful of in California when it comes to homesteading, off-grid living, it can be a trickier state to really put that stuff into practice. There's a lot of zoning laws, there's a lot of restrictions. So again, you want to do your due diligence to ensure that it's going to meet your standards in terms of what you're looking to build out there. Now, much like Klamath County, Oregon, this is an appreciating market. This is a market where you're going to most likely see prices rise over the next couple decades, over the next few years even, just because that population growth is so strong. And a lot of folks in California are kind of heading east because they're getting priced out of the more western counties. And so this is an area that's certainly going to appreciate. Not a bad idea to lock in a $2,000 or $2,500 purchase of an acre. Most likely watch prices appreciate over the next few years. Known as the last best place, or where the West still lives, Modoc County, California, way up at the border of Oregon. It's the northernmost county in California. Now, most of the county out here is actually comprised of federal land, so there's not a lot of private land to be had. Although the stuff that is out there for sale, you'll typically find it anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 for an acre. It's a beautiful area. Really not much going on out here, though. Again, if you're looking for hustle and bustle, you're looking to be adjacent to a big city, you're looking for something to do on the weekends outside of camping, hiking, being in nature, I would certainly look elsewhere. Now, if that is your pace of life and you want something slower and you want to be in that beautiful Northern California type scenery, well, it's a great place to do it. The county is very diverse geographically. I mean, the northwestern edge of the county is dominated by the Medicine Lake Highlands, the largest shield volcano on the U.S. West Coast, Lava Beds National Monument. You've got a lot to enjoy about the area, and the scenery, again, if you've never been to Modoc County, certainly worth driving through. It is unlike any other part in California. It's one of my more favorite spots within Northern California, although I don't know if I would want to live there. But if you're looking to live extremely off-grid and do it on the cheap, Modoc County is a great place to add to your list. It seems weird to say that you could get land next to the Grand Canyon for dirt cheap, but truth be told, Mojave County is the place to do it. Mojave County is a ginormous county in Arizona. It's actually the 5th largest county in all of the United States. You've got Lake Havasu, you've got Kingman, Arizona. You've got some decently large towns out there. Population is about 200,000 folks, and that's coming from the 2010 census. So most likely this has grown a good amount. The county consists of 2 sections divided by the Grand Canyon, and you've got the Colorado River running through it. You've got the Mojave Desert. Really a stunning area. Again, if you like the desert climate, this is fantastic. If you don't, I would look elsewhere. Land prices really range in Mojave County, being that it's such a big, diverse county. The prices can be all over the map. I've seen properties as low as $500 an acre. Most likely you're probably closer to about $1,000 to $1,500 for an acre out here. If you're looking for land, I would say, look towards Kingman. If you go inland a little bit more, it's gonna be a lot more affordable. Whereas if you're close to Lake Havasu, those prices could be substantially higher. Well, we're back to New Mexico, and New Mexico is one of those states that you'll see cropping up on this list pretty often. And simply put, New Mexico is probably one of the most affordable states in the entire U.S. to buy land, and Torrance County is no exception. Torrance County is located smack dab in the middle of New Mexico. It's a beautiful area with gently rolling grasslands ranging from 6,000 to 6,200 feet in elevation, the Manzano Mountains rising all the way up to 10,000 feet in elevation, which you can see on the western edge of the county. It really gives a ton of beauty to most of the land in the area. I've seen land go as cheap as $500 an acre in Torrance County, but the average is probably closer to about $1,000 per acre. Torrance County might be one of the most desolate counties in all of the United States. There's about 16,000 people that live in Torrance County, New Mexico. The county seat is a town called Estancia. It's really not much of a town, but you can get the general necessities there. Most of the stuff you might have to do an Amazon order if you want any extra goodies, but a lot of the bare necessities you can find within Estancia. This is similar to Valencia County, New Mexico. There's a handful of kind of defunct subdivisions that never really took off. That provides ample inventory to come in and buy land at a smoking discount. Well, if you enjoy your beer, you enjoy your wine, you enjoy your spirits, you most likely want to look elsewhere. If you don't mind, Izard County, Arkansas is a great place to look for land. It's actually considered a dry county, so that means there is an alcohol prohibition within the county. This is a very small county with a very small population. There's about 14,000 folks that live out here. The county seat is Melbourne. It's Arkansas's 13th county. It was formed back in 1825. It's actually named for the War of 1812, which is kind of interesting, named after George Izard. I always find that name to be kind of funny. I don't know why Izard. It gives me a good laugh. This is an area where land prices are shockingly low. There's a lot of subdivisions out here that never took off. You're going to see that as a reoccurring theme in this video. But there's properties out here for $500, $800, maybe $1,200. Most of them are going to be under an acre. It's actually a scenically really beautiful place. If you're looking for an area that's got lots of amenities, you're looking for an area that's appreciating, I would look elsewhere. I mean, we're looking at a population decline. There's not a ton of amenities out here. Again, you're probably going to be relying on Amazon to do a lot of your shopping, but not a bad place to look if you're starting on a shoestring budget. Now, first on the list is Valencia County, New Mexico, which is actually one of the smallest counties in all of New Mexico, but the land prices are hard to beat out here. It is very common to find an acre to 2 acres for as little as $800 all the way up to maybe $2,000. And it's one of the easiest places to buy land if you're starting with a smaller budget. Now, Valencia County is an interesting area in the sense that a lot of this land was subdivided many moons ago. These developers came in, they created these massive subdivisions, and nothing really ever transpired. And what that means is, although it's a smaller county, most of the county currently sits vacant, which as a new land investor or someone that's looking to come in and purchase their first piece of property, is one of the very best places to do that. What makes this county interesting too is the population density. There's only 76,000 people in the entire county, looking at about 72 inhabitants per square mile. It's relatively a pretty open, desolate kind of environment. And if you're looking to homestead or just live off grid and you want to do it on a budget, there's very few markets which can even come close to the price point that you'll find in Valencia County. What's interesting is this county was recognized as a significant bellwether region that held the longest record for predicting presidential election winners, but that all changed in 2020 as the world kind of got thrown upside